Giant FM and streaming live on the First Federal Facebook page.
It is indeed Friday morning. It's Christmas Eve.
Hey!
And we are blessed with Evan in the studio.
I'm blessed to be here. It's fun. I think we should maybe consider having a Christmas Eve show every year, whether it falls on a Friday or not. What do you think, Paul?
I'm all for it. How about you, Todd?
I'm all for it too. Christmas Eve, great time of the year.
All right.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yes. Yeah, so the kids got to go to bed, in like 12 hours instead of 15. So Santa can get in there and get out, because I heard he's going to try to hurry this year because he's got to do all the snowless houses first with the tires, and then he can switch to the proper sleigh.
Change out the tires.
Oh, that's good.
Never thought about that.
Got
That's
a good
true.
crew.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be like a NASCAR pit stop. It'll be done in 8 seconds. Tires will be off, sleighs will be on.
Well, you watched Elf last night, so
Yeah.
you maybe saw, the elves were practicing that.
The
Maybe.
Kringle 3000,
Yeah.
the turbine engine.
Yep.
My favorite sleigh, though, is from Christmas Chronicles. Have you guys seen that one
No.
on Netflix?
Not seen that.
Oh, you gotta watch that. Santa has a really awesome sleigh in that one.
Is that a new movie?
Yeah, it's newer.
Okay.
Vintage 5 years, within the last
Okay.
5 years or something. And there's already, this says more about the times these days anyway. There's already a second one out. So
Oh.
you got two you gotta catch up on now.
Christmas classics.
Elf, though, Elf's one we don't skip every year.
You gotta watch Elf. It's not Christmas till you watch Home Alone and Elf.
That's right. I didn't realize it was made in 2003.
Yeah.
It's coming up
That's
on
pretty
20
old, yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
That makes it a classic. My favorites are It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas.
Well, as bankers, we were required.
Oh, yeah,
It's a Wonderful
required.
Life's kind of required viewing.
That's our story.
That's one of my favorites too.
So do you think the folks in the stock markets are required to watch anything Scrooge related?
Maybe.
Remember, don't end up like this.
Well, not this time of year, because Evan's going to talk about the stock market. I learned something new yesterday, just reading some things. There's a Santa rally going on now.
Yeah, I kind of learned that too. I think we've talked about it before, but didn't really understand what it was. So we'll hit on that a little bit later.
Thanks for bringing the homemade coffee in today.
Yeah, so some Christmas traditions. Around our house, Emily and I like to make toffee around the holidays and pass that out. So what'd you guys think?
It's
If
really
visual
good.
for Facebook Live. Sorry you can't join us.
We ate it before the show started, so we didn't have to be crunching on the mic. It's kind of a nice thing.
You don't want to hear us all sitting in here.
What kind of traditions did you guys have growing up?
Christmas Eve dinner with the family. It was always a ham, something like that. My mom would always make sure we had Christmas tree peppermint ice cream.
Oh man,
For dessert.
that
And
sounds
usually
delicious.
midnight service, things like that.
Yeah, we like to go to the Christmas Eve service at church. I, kind of get chills every time they do sometimes they'll do like a candlelight silent night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that before. There's always stories of like how my brother dripped wax on me.
Yeah, it happened every time.
Yeah, every family has a story like that, I think.
Yeah, ours just consisted of a church service and going to the grandparents' houses and Chex Mix, homemade Chex Mix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you still do that? Is that one that's carried on, Paul?
No, the recipe died with my mama.
Oh no!
So I haven't had homemade Chex Mix in about 10 years, and I miss it.
We're gonna make that right next year.
I can say yet maybe later.
Yeah.
My wife made what she calls, her family is from Texas, or her mom's from Texas originally, something called Texas trash.
Okay.
And it's very spicy. A
Mm.
lot of hot sauce in it with the traditional Chex Mix ingredients.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I'll bring you a little baggie.
Maybe we'll send this Rubbermaid home with Todd, and he can bring it back with something good for the
Yeah.
next one. What about other treats? You guys, any other special Christmas treats? I like the peppermint ice cream. That's kind of a seasonal thing sometimes. You can't find it except for Christmas.
Hot chocolate, which is good with
Yeah.
like a candy cane in it.
Have you guys tried the hot chocolate bombs that are encased in chocolate?
I did a couple of years ago because the kids made them in school. Those were fun.
Yeah, those are very fun. Have you tried that, Todd?
No, I have not tried
Oh,
that.
you heat up the milk and it's just like a giant chocolate ball with all the ingredients in it, and you just set it in there and you just get to watch it melt.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
This is too hot.
Wait a second. Are you the guy that sued McDonald's over the coffee, Todd? Come on now. All right, there's something this time of year. I always get a gift from my parents, which I really like. It's pears from Harry and David. Have you guys ever seen those kind of gifts before?
Yes, sometimes you get that from vendors that are trying
That's
to
right.
thank you for the year.
That's right. Those are really good.
Yes, they are.
I appreciated
There's
those.
always one wrapped in gold foil.
I
You
don't
know?
Yeah, why is
I
that?
don't know.
That's interesting.
Maybe
Catches
there's
your
some
eye.
significance to that.
Well, maybe. Hey, trivia question.
I saw some in the bank the other day. I tried to convince somebody that that was a special pear.
It
He
is
said,
solid gold.
Looks like the other pears. You know?
Okay, I have a random Christmas movie that you may or may not have seen. It's animated, so maybe this trends
Okay.
a little more towards Paul. I don't know if you're into those, Todd, but Arthur Christmas. You seen that one?
No.
Nope. Have not
Okay, I
seen
think
that.
it's British, but it's very funny. It's not the Arthur PBS character.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's just a kid named Arthur.
Yeah, I was trying to picture Arthur with a British accent.
that
He's
would be
the son of Santa Claus and the future Santa, but he
Okay.
kind of bumbles around a little bit. It's really a warm-hearted movie.
So I'm sure you can find it streaming somewhere, probably, right?
We'll be watching it tonight. We always watch that one on Christmas Eve. That's
Okay.
kind of a
Okay.
unique one for us.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there's traditions of Rudolph and Frosty, you know.
I know those are good. Those don't die, I don't think.
Charlie Brown Christmas is the best one, though.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now this year we had less time between Thanksgiving and Christmas than normal,
Yeah.
so we haven't fit all these in as well as we have in years past. So how have you guys done?
Terribly.
We're behind our movie. There's going to be a lot of binging in the next few days.
I know.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of post-Christmas movie watching, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to start at like 5 o'clock tonight and then watch through like 9 o'clock tomorrow night and probably even on Sunday.
I think so too. We definitely can't fit them all in before Christmas, so I'm thinking the week after maybe we hit some of the favorites if we're got some time to kill.
Do either of you, is Christmas Story a favorite for you?
Absolutely.
I've never seen it. Maybe we can view it here in the studio sometime.
Yeah. Well,
It's based in Indiana, supposedly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Gary or
Gary,
Hammond
Indiana.
or something, or is
Yeah.
it Hammond maybe?
So, I don't know. It's good though.
You guys should put like a leg with a lamp in your window here, you know.
I know a guy who has one.
Okay.
It's not the full size from the movie, but definitely know a guy with one. He'll be joining us later on.
Might be in the back. Well, I think that's my father-in-law Paul's favorite movie, so I'd like to watch it with him sometime. I think that would be the best.
It's an absolutely good movie.
Okay, well, let's get on to our trivia.
All right.
This was curated by Todd, so why don't you kick it off for us,
Our
Todd?
special guests are WROI, Moose and Todd from WROI this morning. We're talking about some radio trivia.
Okay.
And based on patent dates, who invented the radio?
Oh.
Nikola Tesla, Heinrich Hertz, G. Marconi.
I actually know the answer to
They're all possibly right to
Right,
some extent because
right.
they all had a role.
this. Yes.
You know, you got to be a big deal if you only go by your first initial. Some
Yeah.
guy named G. That's a pretty
Well,
impressive
that's because Todd wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
So
guy. Giuseppe?
G,
Is
yeah.
it Giuseppe?
It was Garmioli, Guamioli.
I don't know. Don't give a speech on it. I'll
So
give
you
that
called
one.
me out. Okay.
Just call me
Taking
E
the
Gotchak.
shortcut.
E Gotchak from now on,
E
please.
Gotchak.
Just E. Well, what about sports? This is kind of a fun time of year for sports.
Yeah, the
in a
high
lot of
school's kind of
cases.
taking a break right now.
Mhm.
Still some college basketball going on. Speaking of college basketball, Evan, you took in the game this week.
Yeah, we had a great first family experience. Luke and Drew and my dad and I went down to Bloomington for the IU game against Northern Kentucky University.
Also known as God's Country.
Yeah, it was great. The boys hadn't been there before, and my dad and I only had a couple times, so we made some great memories. But we also met some of our extended family from Kentucky there, who happened to be Northern Kentucky graduates and fans.
Hey, you brought in the enemy. I wasn't really sure that was kosher.
That's not how you do it
No.
down in the southern Indiana.
No.
Well, we had a wonderful time. We tried to get into Mother Bear's Pizza on your recommendation, but it was an hour and a half wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They didn't take reservations. I don't know if they used to, but most places don't anymore.
Right.
So we ended up at O'Charlie's and had a nice meal there and went to Assembly Hall. And even Emily's uncle and dad joined us, and her uncle played ball for Northern Kentucky. So they had their gear on.
They could have used them, it seems like.
I
First
think
half was
so.
kind of rough for them.
It was. Yeah, they only scored 5 points, I think, in the first 10 minutes. But Anyway, it ended up all good and well for Indiana University, even after kind of a second half run for the enemy.
Victory was 79-61, but it was a great family experience.
Yep, it was. And we made it home safely the same night, so that's an accomplishment in itself. But it only took like 2 hours and 45 minutes to get down there now.
Same night, so you got home before midnight then?
Yeah, it was just at midnight.
Okay. Well, kids are up late then.
Well, they might have slept on the way home.
We're
Okay.
going to drive at 11:59.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a win, right?
Yes.
Purdue also had a win this week against Incarnate Word, 79-59. Actually, that was interesting because Carson Cunningham, a former Purdue player, was their coach.
Is that how that got scheduled? I'd never heard of that team before. So
Yeah, why? I can't even pronounce it. So, Incarnate Word. But Notre Dame also beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi this week, not Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah, well, darn.
That's one of the holiday treats too.
Well, you just kind of defined the Christmas season basketball for the big programs.
Yeah.
They generally pay some teams to come in and play them, I
Play
think.
somebody you can pound, right?
Yeah.
College football coming up. Purdue plays Tennessee on the 30th at 3 o'clock, and Notre Dame plays Oklahoma State and Arizona at 1 o'clock. The Purdue game will be before the next radio show. That's what I want to bring that up today, just in case anybody's interested.
Yeah, there might be a couple of people.
Yeah. And Indiana's not playing in the bowl.
I was hoping maybe they might sneak in on one. You know, Rutgers is getting into the Gator
Yeah.
Bowl. I
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah,
That was
thanks to
interesting. I read
Texas A&M.
something.
Yes.
They had a losing record. Maryland beat Rutgers to go to a bowl game. So Maryland got the Pinstripe Bowl. Now the loser actually gets the better bowl, the Gator Bowl.
That's incredible. And I think IU was well enough down the list that they won't be getting one, even if.
I've been to the Gator Bowl before. That's fun. Of course, IU played Tennessee there and lost that, but they led most of the game.
Yeah, that was kind of an crushing end.
Colts are doing well. They're on a real good streak right now. Beat the Patriots last weekend. They play the Cardinals tomorrow night. And on WROI,
Yep.
ROI, I assume.
Yep. Pregame will kick off at 7:30.
Yeah, they've been really hot. I think they could have a good chance of winning this one because I don't think the Cardinals' best receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, is going to play. And also their best defender, J.J. Watt's not going to play, I don't think.
Good news for the Colts.
Yeah.
Colts lost a little hope last night because the Titans beat the 49ers. So that a lot of the right things had to happen to play into place for the Colts to win the division. That's probably out now for sure.
I was thinking the Niners were going to win that before the game started just because the Titans haven't looked all that great lately.
They're missing their best running back. I watched the Bears and the Vikings on Monday night, and that was pretty dismal.
I told my dad I watched the second half. He's like, "Oh, I only watched the first half."
Five times inside the 20-yard line, couldn't score. Kind of sounds like a little bit like the Browns sometimes.
Hey now. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to point it out.
Yeah, I feel like as a fan I have to watch every game because there's only 6. Well, there's 17, so I shouldn't say that, but there just aren't that many football games. But sometimes it's
Defense was great. Offense was, I hate to say pathetic. That's kind of a strong word. But
Not the best.
not the best. They could have room for improvement. As a Cubs fan, there's always next year, right?
That's right. Good
So
boy.
Tanner's here in spirit again today and offers Tanner's tidbits.
Yeah, slacker.
On this day in 1893, Henry Ford completed his first useful gasoline-fueled engine. And that was put in his first auto called the quadricycle.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. That's pretty cool.
Also on this day in 1956, I Love Lucy Christmas show aired, but it was never put in syndication. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Have you?
I have not.
Also now, if you want to catch something about Lucy, the Ricardos is on Amazon now streaming.
Is that a series?
It's a
Or a
movie.
movie,
now with,
okay.
Nicole Kidman, I think, is playing Lucy in it, I think.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Also on this date, this is one of my favorite memories growing up. In 1968, the first Earthrise from the moon was captured from Apollo 8.
Yes.
Wow.
That classic, iconic picture
Yeah,
came from Christmas Eve, 1968.
that's neat.
And that's also when they read Genesis on the spacecraft, and it was broadcast back to the United States.
Wow, that's cool.
Also National Eggnog Day.
Mm.
Eggnog in your mug there?
No, but cheers to my father-in-law Paul. That's one of his favorite holiday traditions. I should have mentioned that earlier.
I didn't know what eggnog was. It's a mixture of eggs, cream, flavorings, and sometimes alcohol.
And sometimes alcohol.
I hear it tastes like creme brulee, which I love creme brulee, so I've never really.
Sometimes it has a bit of a spice, a little bit of a spice hint to it.
Yes.
So that must be the flavorings you're talking about. It's interesting they don't list out what those are.
There are various recipes, and Todd took the shortcut again.
I'm sorry.
Jeez, just point that out all.
Instead of listing, the 12 spices that go in G. Marconi.
Oh, thanks, Todd. Let's talk about skipping ahead to the money that you were talking about. Money news. Santa Rally. What is that?
Rally. The Santa Rally is something that refers to the propensity for stocks to go up the final 5 trading days of the year and the first 2 of the following year. And since 1950, the S&P 500 has rallied more than 1% in these days and moved higher 79% of the time. So
Wow.
we're kind of in a Santa Rally now because the stock market's going up.
It's amazing that it's that consistent. 79%, is that what you said?
79% of the time, the stocks have moved higher during the Christmas week.
That's probably the one thing all year you can count on almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the S&P's up 25% already for the year, even with some of these rockier times we've had the last couple months.
And up this week too, right?
Up 1,000 or something like that for the Dow. So we may be looking at a excellent finish to that. I think one thing is the Fed's already determined what they think they're going to do about inflation and kind of forecasted that. I think the Omicron, is that how you say that variant?
Sure, Omicron. Yeah,
Okay, Omicron. I'm not very good with Greek, so some of the news seems to be that it's not as serious, so maybe there aren't going to be such shutdowns as what we had before. I think that was kind of a fear
Yeah,
for a while with the market.
Positive news for the market.
Yeah, so some of those things are more positive, and that could really be playing into what you're talking about, an already good time of year.
So you're happy, Paul, right? Stocks
Yes.
are going up.
Stocks are going up. I've reported every day this week that they've gone up, and I wanted to see them keep going up. I'm almost break even where I started, so I'm happy about
That's
that.
a long-term investment because
That's
there's
right.
some up days and some down days.
And what was the best advice you told me this morning, Todd, about your investments? Never look at them?
Yeah, it's a long-term investment, and once you put it in there, never look at it because you'll worry too much about it.
Yeah. Mine just keeps notifying me there for
Oh.
a week and a half. It was like, hey, this is down. This
Oh,
is an
no.
all-time low.
You gotta turn that
52
off.
week low. I'm like, just go away.
It's a very emotional thing to do, investing. So, well, that's great news. Thank you, Todd, for that. All right, did you guys hear about the Spider-Man movie opening?
Yes.
People thought nobody was going to be going to theaters maybe with some of the same nervousness or concern, but wow, that was a big one.
Number 3.
Number 3 for the year?
All
all
time.
time.
Wow.
And the only 2 in front of it are 2 other Marvel movies.
And
Wow.
it's over 600 million now, and they think it might reach $1 billion by the end of the week.
So you're wondering why they keep making comic book movies. That's why.
Exactly.
They make money.
Well, that's what I originally thought. Like, what's Disney getting into Marvel for? Well, they're making $1 billion. That's why.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They're doing better than the
That's
Masters.
worldwide, $1 billion.
Yes.
Okay, well let's think about First Federal for just a moment this morning. We're giving away some nice holiday gifts for free checking account openings this season. What are those, Todd?
One's an ornament. It's a Bluetooth speaker ornament that you can hang on your tree and hear that Christmas music coming straight from your tree.
Hang it high enough so your cat doesn't get it.
That's good point, Dave.
Very good advice.
And the other is a fleece blanket to keep you warm by the fire, all right?
That's nice. We're watching Elf.
For Elf and other Christmas movies as we binge later this week.
Yes.
So if you open an account, you can get one of those gifts, your choice. Or if you send someone in and they open an account, they'll get one and then you'll get one also.
Yeah, so send in 2 friends and you can get one of each.
Good
I
deal.
love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Put Paul in our marketing department.
If you go in and open an account today, tell them that Paul Zartman sent you.
You heard that here on WROI and Facebook Live.
This time of year, sometimes it's nice to look into a consumer loan if you've done quite a bit of shopping.
Yeah.
Maybe you accidentally overbought. They do have good return policies these days, but if you liked everything you bought and you need to refinance some things and the credit card interest's so high, we've got consumer loans at low rates that might interest you, much lower than a credit card. So something to think about. You can apply online through our website, www.firstfederalbanking.com. Also, mortgage home loan rates are still extremely low in the scheme of things. Todd, you've said this before, but what was your original mortgage rate when you first got it?
Well, when I was first went into banking, rates were around 14%, and I said if they ever get down to 12%, I'm going to buy. But my first mortgage rate was at 7%.
Oh, you did well then.
So, but that was many years later because
14, and now they're maybe in the 3%. Yeah, somewhere in there. So, still a great time for low cost in terms of interest, buying a home, or if you've got a rate that's higher than that, you ought to think about applying and looking into maybe refinancing that, saving yourself some monthly interest.
and if you purchase a new home, we have a special deal for you.
What's that?
Closing costs. We can take $700 off your conventional closing costs.
It's like $700 cash you get then, maybe.
Well, just reduce $700 you don't have to pull out of your pocket.
Yeah, same thing. That's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good deal. You ought to think about that. Well, we are streaming live on Facebook, so you should consider checking us out there for future shows. Like us on Facebook. We do put out some family news through that channel. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a YouTube channel where we put some video out there for you. We're the only locally owned bank in Fulton County, and we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines for those loan products I was just talking about. We are FDIC insured and an equal housing lender, and our NMLS number is 399927.
And that makes us legal.
Whew! That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we want to welcome the radio station on to the radio station to talk about the radio station this morning.
Yeah.
So, Paul, thank you for joining us. Oh, wait, you've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And Todd Zartman, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You
Get
guys-
the Zartman boys.
The Zartman guys.
Yeah.
The Z's.
Disease.
More toffee, guys? Well,
Yeah.
before I start asking you a bunch of questions.
Now
That's
we'll
not
just
fair,
sit here and
is it?
see who's going to answer which one.
Yeah.
You guys have been talking over each other for years. This is going to be great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Daily during the trading post, too.
So, I've been coming in here for a few years now, usually in the winter season, but a little more regularly the last couple of years. This studio's been changing an awful lot.
Yes.
And you guys have had other changes happening with Giant FM. You're handling it well. Lots of things have happened. Let's talk about some of those over the last few years and what's been going on here at WROI. This isn't your dad or grandpa's WROI anymore.
No,
necessarily.
no, it is not.
No, it is not.
2 years and 4 months.
Yeah.
Three Towers Broadcasting bought WROI. August 1st, 2019. Came in. I always joke. Paul was here. And I come in because he had a show called the 80s Cafe. I don't know if I remember that one in the afternoons.
Oh yeah.
And since he was a little young for the music, I would come in and help him out. Well, he said, "There's a couple guys here I want you to meet." So I met him, and that's how I got hired here. The reason I mentioned that is because at the time, if you think back to 19, the newspaper had sold in May.
Earlier that year.
Same May, yeah, May of that year. Francer Lumber had sold in like June or July,
Yep.
and now the radio station had sold. So that was 3 major long-term
Institutions in the community, that's right.
That's a lot of change for a town the size of
It
Rochester.
sure is.
Yeah.
And I told Scotty I had one chance. I said, "You better hit this right,
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen where other people haven't, so you better hit it right." Well, he hit a grand slam in my mind. I mean, it took a little bit. He started with the outside of the building.
Hey, it looks fantastic.
And
I think of the movie Big every time I drive by.
oh, it's yeah.
With the awning, that's neat.
The awning out here was fantastic. I always joke that there should have been a wreck out here. When she was painting it, I don't know how there wouldn't. They'd be driving by staring at it.
Trying to take
pictures.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yes.
But then 2 years later, on August the 1st of 2021,
Yep.
Three Towers Broadcasting bought WREB Radio in Greencastle.
Okay.
Um,
They might have more than 3 towers now, I'm thinking.
well, kind of.
Okay.
Ish.
All right.
The reason that was the original station in Shelbyville
Okay.
had 3 towers. It
I
was
see.
an old AM station, but it was, and again, I'm not a technical guy on this, but it was directional, so they had to have 2 other towers to focus the
Interesting.
So that's how they got the 3
Okay.
towers.
That makes more sense to me now.
So that's really how it was. But
Greencastle.
Greencastle, 2.5 hours away. We know. I know.
Yeah.
Very similar situation as here with Tom and Sue. Owner looking to kind of downsize. But again, we made a lot of changes there. Moved it. They were out in the country, way out in the country.
Took you 15 minutes from downtown to get to the station.
Really?
I mean,
That's
it was
unusual, I think.
way out in the country.
Yeah.
First thing Scott did is said, I want to be downtown. He said, I know what it's like with WROI, and he says, I want to make WREB like WROI.
That's great.
So this is his crown jewel. I mean,
Yes.
he has said that.
Oh,
We
nice.
are his
And
showcase
his
station.
What a nice seat to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, it
guys?
is. And so that's, I mean, he's put brand new equipment down there. He's put brand new equipment here, as you guys have seen.
That's right.
We were
Yeah.
joking what there's maybe, other than the racks itself, there's maybe 2 pieces of equipment that have been here from 2 years ago, 2 or 3.
That's a significant investment.
It is,
Yeah.
but like we said on the, before, with everything else that he's done, he's kind of got an eye to the future, where he wants to be, and that's why when he bought the new transmitter, we had a lightning strike out there, so we had to buy a new transmitter a year and a half ago, give or take.
Year and about a half ago now.
Yeah, and what he did is he decided that he wanted to kind of be out there on the forefront, so he bought an HD transmitter. So now we actually have 2 stations here. We have
Oh, that's
HD1, which is our normal station, and then we also have HD2, which is our country station.
Yep.
So you'll hear everything the same except the music.
Right.
In fact, it's all country music, Christmas music.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I downloaded the app a few months ago, and you can.
Yes.
I think that's where you can listen to. That's where I found the
Yeah.
country station.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Yes.
Yeah. If you like all of us in here have an older vehicle that doesn't quite have an HD radio in
Yeah,
it,
that's right.
download the Giant FM app. It's free, and you get the country
What-
station.
What it also helped is we had what was it, Colts game?
Yes.
We had a Colts game and a Rochester High School basketball game, same night,
Opening day.
opening day. So what do? RHS is on HD2, so we could still do it, and people could still listen to it with their app.
That's awesome.
So we were able to, because we're contractually obligated to do the
The
Colts.
Colts on 92.1.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gives us some flexibility to do those things. We were just discussing that with Randy Wynn this week about how he's going to have to learn to be in 2 places at once come next year. Because well, they put the boys and the girls holiday tournaments on the same day.
I see.
So we were joking about that maybe next year we can do 1 on 1 and 1 on the other. So
That would
it's
be
down
nice.
the road.
Well, we're speaking with local radio men Todd and Paul Zartman about WROI 92.1 Giant FM, and also about the country station that we now have. That's really interesting. When you guys announced that, I was trying to figure out how that works. So I appreciate the explanation, because
Yeah.
it really does help us understand all the neat options we have here locally.
It does, and we're one of the few in this north central area to have HD. So I mean, he went out. That's what I said. We're talking about
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah, vision. That's
The
right.
vision that we want to be out there. He could have done something else, but then he'd have to buy one in 4, 5, 6 years again. He just didn't. So he's always trying to look out ahead. Paul can tell you about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've noticed some other things too, guys. I've noticed that Giant FM is involved in the community around a lot. It's not like
Yes.
an outside company buys something local and then you never hear from that company again. You guys are involved with a lot of things, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
What
Scott
was-
is completely community driven. That was one of the first things he talked about. He goes, and he'll tell you if you get a chance to talk to him, he'll go, "I love Rochester." Because I love being in Rochester more than Shelbyville some days. It's such a welcoming, warm community, and we want to be here for that. We want to be a part of that. We want people to be able to walk in and take their picture in front of the on-air sign. We want people to just stop in and say, "Hey, thanks for everything you're doing," any of that stuff.
yeah, Scott will tell the story that when he first came in, he came through downtown and saw all the potential for this community
That's neat.
and said, "I want to be part of this."
Wow.
That he was told that story multiple times.
Well, it's neat to hear someone that wasn't as familiar with Rochester see some of the things that we all know, but
Yeah.
if you don't live here, you might not. So that's
we
great.
take things for
We
granted
do.
because we've lived here all our lives.
No.
But Scott sees it in this. I wish I could see things the way
Potential.
he does.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. So, thinking about the future, we got another minute or two here. What you have any thoughts? Are more things coming, or what? Where are you settled in now, or what? You gonna have to embrace more changes, or what's going on in the future? Do you think?
Well, we've still got a couple pieces of equipment to install here to
Right.
finish everything, but with the shortages and everything, we had to wait on some parts to be able to finish the Greencastle stuff that currently has temporary use of the equipment that we need here.
I see. So you're like everyone else, waiting on
Yes,
some
we
things.
are.
Yes.
I got a
were
couple
affected by
Christmas
that as
gifts
well.
I'm still waiting
Yeah.
on, so I don't
Yeah.
think that's looking too good for me.
There's still a couple I've been waiting on since 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're hopefully starting to slow down a little bit. I noticed we joked about it when we first put it up, the little trellis there. We've talked about trying to maybe put another one in here. We want to redo the countertop at some point, possibly. Big changes wise, I think we're done for now.
I've threatened him. I said no more stations.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a drawing, because I'm going down and help out.
Yes.
So you know how you drive that 2.5 hours
Yeah.
twice a week. That's a long drive in one day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, we are.
We announced it, but go ahead, Paul. Tell them about who's starting January 3rd.
Starting January 3rd, we will actually have a 2-person morning show instead of just a single-person morning
Really?
show.
That's exciting.
Unfortunately, Tina retired
Tina
last week
Sullivan retired.
in
Oh,
the
Merry
sales
Christmas
department.
to Tina.
And,
Congrats on the retirement.
Yes.
and with that opened the door to bring in Randy Wynn, our sports guy. He'll
Yeah.
be full-time here. And him and I will be tackling the morning show as kind of a duo.
Oh, cool.
Now, so
Well, that'll be fun.
it'll be
You
fun.
needed a little company here in the morning.
Yes, it can get a little boring talking to yourself.
Well,
People tend to think you're a little crazy.
and it's tough, and so we kind of developed the Moose and Professor show / trading post,
Yeah.
and
That's
and,
been
the,
fun.
and the boss liked how that was the
Yeah.
play there,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to adapt
Try
the
something
morning
else.
show. Yes.
Well, that's great. Well, we appreciate everything you guys have meant to the station these last couple of years and further back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Fulton County
Todd's
Post.
talking about Fulton County Post. We're doing local news here too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Local
Thank you,
news
Todd.
was always something that Tom and Sue had done, but it was only just a few times throughout the day. And when Scott bought the company, they had a news director, Johnny McCrory, who's currently doing our news and on from 10 to 1 as well. And they said, you know what, we're going to do it every hour and we're going to make it local. and they had always done their website as Shelby County Post down in Shelbyville.
Yes.
And for a while, he just kept us at WROIFM.com. And then he goes, he was hearing more and more people talking about going to the website to look for news and things like that. So that's
right.
when he went to the full decision that everywhere would have a post name of sorts. And that's when we became Fulton County Post. He redesigned the website to be more of a digital newspaper.
Yeah, it works really well, and you feel like you're getting something that's pretty relevant and up to the minute, up to the day news, which is great for the local community.
Yes, it is. It's let's face it, it's free.
Yes.
You can look at it and you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And there's some neat things on there always.
Yeah.
The community news. But I know one thing that Scott wanted us both to mention was he couldn't do, and we certainly couldn't do this without the support of this community. This community has embraced us unlike anything that Scott could have ever imagined.
That's great.
And without their support, advertiser support, like yourselves, of course, we couldn't do these things.
Well,
so we want to thank them at this time, too.
Great. That's awesome. Well, I think, anytime you're investing in a community is a little bit of a risk, and what you're talking about is that paying off in terms of great relationships and ongoing support and partnerships. So it's been neat to see that happen, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you guys being
Well,
part of that.
we appreciate you guys, and it's been fun.
It has been.
It's been an adventure.
It's been an adventurous 2.5 years. I think I have less hair now than when we started, and that's not just because I got a haircut either.
But it is. It's been fun. I mean, that's the one thing we joke about.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
fun. You come in here. Scott he's got his own office back here in the back
that's
corner.
great.
But he comes and sits in here.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be where everybody is. He
Everything's
likes the
going on.
bullpen,
Yep.
as we call it.
That's
Because
great.
there's, I can't tell you, ideas just
Yep.
from conversation.
Yep.
So a lot of things come up that way. And basically he's, again, back to WREB, he's incorporated the same design down there in
Really?
their office.
Even
with
in the
bullpen.
office? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the ideas
Paul can
flowing.
tell you that now
Yeah.
because he was down there.
Yep, and I gotta say, a big shout out to some of the ladies at First Federal too, because if it weren't for we like what you guys are doing, but we wish it was country. We might not have WROI
Really?
country.
I didn't know the origin story there.
Yeah.
That's
there
really cool.
were
Yeah.
plenty of people in the community saying we wish it was country. We want something local that's country, because there's plenty of other country stations, but it's not local.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's local, and it's the
Same news, same
Yeah.
weather, everything.
the country's 80s to few currents sprinkled in there, so a
That's
little
great.
bit of everything over on WROI Country if you're a country fan.
Check it out for some country Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Todd, come on back in. Let's do our trivia.
All right.
Paul seems to think he knows what it is. I folded my paper. Did you see that? So
Yeah, I did.
it may have shielded the answer.
So based on patents, that's kind of an important disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Who invented radio? Nikolai Tesla, Henrik Hertz, or
Giuseppe Marconi.
Guglielmi. And they all have something to do with radio because it's
Right. You are correct. They all do have something to do with radio, but based off of patents, it would be C.
Marconi. You're absolutely
Yep.
right. There's argument out there is it Tesla because he didn't have patents. There's
Right.
even another Russian out there, but Hertz is the electromagnetic waves, so that's like
Yep.
the AM modulation, the FM
I see.
modulation.
Couldn't have been done without
Yeah.
him, maybe, huh?
But Marconi came up with the design that became
Radio.
a radio and
Neat.
helped everything.
And
work
Marconis
together.
are big awards in the radio industry,
Yep.
aren't they?
I see.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully WRI will get one soon.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Based on what we heard this morning, they should, right?
Maybe.
All right. Why don't you send us off with some words of wisdom?
We have the radio kind of theme today. And this is from Peggy Noonan, an American writer. TV gives everyone an image, but radio gives birth to 1,000,000 images in 1,000,000 brains.
Absolutely. Those are great words of wisdom.
Hey, we want to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Merry
to
Christmas.
you, Paul and Todd. Todd, yourself as well. Our listeners. Yeah, the Todd Squad. Just made that up on the fly. See how that
Yes.
worked?
T squared.
Our listeners
Oh.
at First Federal family and customers, have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you
Merry
guys
Christmas.
as well, and we'll see you next Friday as we wrap up the year.
That's right. Champagne, right, guys?
Probably not. Maybe sparkling.
Sure.
Grape juice.
Hey,
Hey.
there we go. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.